Thank you, everybody. Well, welcome to Louisville. It's an honor to welcome my fellow Kentuckians and fellow public servants here to our city. I've been in office now almost 9 years, so not nearly as long as some of y'all in this room, but I can say it's been a great chapter in my life, certainly challenging. I think we all share those challenges, but certainly rewarding as well. And you know, while we hear a lot on the national media in particular about how people aren't trusting government much these days, a majority of Americans surveyed, just came out 3 weeks ago in the annual update, the majority of Americans say that they trust local government. And in fact, 72% of Americans express confidence in their local government to get the job done, to take care of business. So to you all, I say job well done. People see us as, for the most part, nonpartisan folks that just want to take care of the business that our citizens deserve. And I think that speaks to the important work that each one of us does in our communities, and public servants around the whole entire country does as well. And I would say often with very little recognition or fanfare, but oftentimes with people pretty quick to point the finger at you and tell you what you're not doing right. I always assume that means that they're volunteering to help us when they come up with these suggestions, and usually they come through for us. So I appreciate you all focusing on the results, and I appreciate you all holding the conference here once again in our city. Our momentum continues to be pretty good. Coming out of the Great Recession, we had a nice comeback. Of course, we got a strong manufacturing base here in Louisville with Ford and GE plants located here. Ford's plants in particular continue to do real well, especially the truck plant. So the multiplier effect off those manufacturing jobs is really quite strong. So we've been able to create about 80,000 new jobs coming since the recession has been over, and about 2,700 new businesses, and we got quite a bit of capital investment going on in our city. One of the things that we've really capitalized on is bourbonism. So we coined that term bourbonism to mean bourbon and local food tourism. And I know some of you all are seeing that in your communities as well. But for me, you know, if you can find something authentic about your place, so when people come and say, well, I can't experience that anywhere else, they're going to come back and visit time and time again. And as you all know, we're the bourbon capital. Kentucky is the bourbon capital of the entire world. So I think that bourbon tourism is really just in the early stages on it. We're also doing a great job as a state with our restaurant and food industry. Most locally, you've seen this on Top Chef and other international shows. So we love when people come visit and spend money in our community. We've got a new soccer stadium that some of you all might see while it's going up here. And yesterday, we announced that we're part of the National Women's Soccer League. So that was a great addition to our USL team here, which has been the champions of the country these last 2 years. So soccer is growing quite well in our city. So it's the kind of vibrancy that we're looking for to attract more and more people to our city. And I can tell you that city government does not do that alone, or county government doesn't do that alone. But when we call for people to get together and convene, they usually show up. And so it's the partnerships that really make all this possible. Government hopefully won't screw things up, and hopefully can create a platform for people to flourish and for businesses to flourish as well. So when we pull together our businesses and our nonprofits and citizen groups and individuals around a common goal, I'm happy to report. I mean, it doesn't matter what political party you're on or what media channel you happen to ascribe to. We focus on what that result might be. And it could be education, it could be healthcare, it could be housing, it could be food. People want to focus on what's best for our city, and they come together time and time again. And that's been our approach since I started in office in 2011. I'm just a business guy that happens to be mayor right now, and people respond. Now, with all that being said, we got challenges. Anybody in this room got challenges, or am I the only one? Okay, I'm not the only one. That makes me feel better. It's one of the benefits of having a group like this get together, judges. We can all commiserate a little bit when we go home and know it's not so bad. But I know many of y'all are facing the same challenges that we are, and that it could be the opioid crisis, finding ways to get our kids the education that they deserve so that they can have a good living wage job. And particularly, I want to talk about the challenge that we have of meeting our increasing state pension obligation. Could I see a show of hands if anybody's being challenged by our pension obligations right now? Okay, well, look at the ones that aren't, and let's ask them why they're not, because we need to learn more from you. But this is a big problem for us. And we know this challenge varies by community, and we also know CERS, which almost all of us are in, if not all of us. You know, we're not in a crisis state. You know, let's say like KRS non-hazardous, which that's a crisis. We got challenges, but it's not a crisis for tomorrow. But the depth of this challenge varies by city and county. We had to cut about $25 million from our city budget this past year. And so we spent 8+ years, these past years, building a really lean, efficient team. We compare ourselves to about 20 cities. Of those 20 cities, we're number 4 in terms of our ratio of employees to population. So we've spent a good bit of time leaning out our operation here. So when it comes to coming up with $25 million, we had to cut everything across the board, whether it's closing libraries, fewer ambulances, firefighters, police, swimming pools, you know, and nobody likes to cut anything, as you all know. Public safety is about 55% of our budget here. And that even yesterday we announced a reorganization of our police department because like you guys, we got to balance our budget here. And unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have to be doing the same thing again and again the next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, unless we come up with some revenue solutions, right? It's pretty simple. You either cut or you add revenue. Math is a stubborn thing, is what I tell folks here when they don't want new revenue, but they don't want their service cuts. That's the call that most every citizen has. Well, it doesn't work that way, as you all know. So we need more revenue as a state, and we need more options in particular for raising revenue at the local level. The amount of preemptions that we have on us in our cities and counties compared to the rest of the country is extremely high. And as I just mentioned, where is the trust? The trust is at the local level. The trust, Tommy Turner, is where you're operating in LaRue County at the local level, where each one of us go about and take care of our business. And so when we say that's where the trust is, and we say, well, let's take a look at what's going on around the rest of America. And you see the cities and counties in other states that have a lot more flexibility that we have. And we're not saying just because you have an option to raise revenue that you're going to do it. And your people may vote against it. But we should have the option that's the basic bedrock of democracy. So when you go to other cities in particular, and I'll say, man, what's going on with that? They've got, you know, some really nice sidewalk work going on, or streetscapes, or water, or sewer, whatever it might be. More often than not, it's because the people of those cities and counties have voted for that investment. In our experience here, I wouldn't imagine it's too different from your all's, is that when people know they're voting for a specific project that they can see, and then they know that they need, more often than not, they invest in it. But we got to sell the merits of it. So it's no secret, and Frankfurt knows this as well, that Kentucky has an outdated tax code and too many restrictions on how we can address our own challenges. It feels like we're kind of getting at a tipping point right now. I mean, how many of you all heard, you know, when you go to Frankfurt, they say, well, we're going to take up a comprehensive tax overhaul next year. Has anybody ever heard that before? Let's see, I've been in office for 9 years. I've heard it for every 8 years I've gone to Frankfurt. But it seems like with this pension challenge we have right now, it seems like it's getting closer because they're hearing from everybody. This isn't just a Louisville problem, as you all know. This is a problem all over the state. And I think part of the question is, you know, we have to ask ourselves, what kind of state do we want to be? And what kind of future do we want to offer to our kids and our grandkids? And do we want them to stay here? Are we happy for them to go away? I think most of y'all, when you think about your kids and your grandkids, if you just got a picture of them in your mind right now, you want them around you. At least I do. Most of them anyway. So they got to see us investing. They got to see us believing in the future of our cities and counties. And then they'll stay around and they'll help us build. But if they just see us cutting, they say, Mom, Dad, I don't see a future for me here. And I got to think about my kids, the kids they're going to have, and what kind of place they're going to grow up in. So we can do this, but we got to have the expectation to do it. And I know there's no easy answer as well. And this is not a question that somebody says, well, I hate taxes, or somebody says, I've never seen a tax I didn't like before. No, we got to have measured, common sense discussions, the kinds that we all have each and every day in our cities and counties to take care of the problems that were right in front of us, that are coming to us from the folks that we run into in the grocery store every day. We can't go hide away in a Capitol or in Washington, D.C. We got to take care of business each and every day. So I think it's really critical, obviously, to determine the future of our counties and our state, and I think now is the time to do it. So I will be happy to join you all in sending the message to Frankfort that local governments, trusted by American people more than any other level of government, need more options and more control over our destiny to be able to serve our citizens. That ultimately, I think, is why you run for office. I ran for office because I believe we were all born to help each other. Simple as that. It's not a complicated concept, but we got to have the tools to help each other. So I want to thank you all for coming to our city. I'll see you off and on the next couple days. And thank you for your citizenship and your dedication. I say now more than ever, people need to see local government working. People need to see what teamwork looks like across party lines, so they know that the purpose of this great democracy we have in America is about serving our people. No other reason. So God bless you all. Thanks for coming to Louisville.